Hello and welcome back to the channel, folks. Thank you for joining me today. And yes, today is a big day. It's another embargo drop, and I can now show you Tzeentch and Nurgle. And Tzeentch was one of the campaigns that I had picked out ahead of time that I was going to do a dedicated playthrough of from the beginning. Now, don't worry, folks. I will eventually play through every faction on this game, so we will get to them. But there was 3 factions I had picked out early that I want to play. Islev, which isn't available yet from the embargoes, Tzeentch, and Cathay. I am going to play Cathay, and yes, they are available. Well, Air, why haven't you started it? Because I'm going to do a co-op campaign with Mrs. Air. It's taken me a little time to get ready. But Tzeentch is here. We're going to start this one. I'm going to do something special for you all, okay? This one's going to be one of the cinematic campaigns that you all like so much when we did it with Gorrock and Archaon. So that means I'm going to be playing this campaign. I'm going to cut out sometimes unnecessary or boring parts, and I'm going to make sure and cut out load screens and other stuff like that. And we're going to cinematically record the battles so that you can see the units up close and other stuff rather than watching me micro around at 10,000 feet in the air, okay? So let's get the new campaign started, and we're going to start off with the cinematic here.
This world has been sundered by a tide of arcane energy. The winds of magic churned into a maelstrom. The Tome of Fate drew me north to find out why. It guided me to a distant fortress steeped in blood. A battle was fought there. Though long over, the spirits still lingered. In the shadow of a broken portal, the trail ended. It was here the tome conversed with the dead. They told of Ursun, the bear god of Kislev, lost in darkness. A noble prince ventured to save him, yet he strayed from the path and was corrupted by chaos. Savior became executioner. A single shot, bound in faith forsaken, pierced Ursun's heart. And so the bear god roared. The tide that broke the world. Spirits, where lies Ursun now? Is he here? In the north.
Beyond the maelstrom, in the realm of chaos, in the forge of souls.
Is he alive?
Wounded and dying, embraces its shadow.
What shadow? A demon's?
A master of the dark.
I knew who shackled the bear. Be'lakor. Only a fool would challenge Be'lakor. And yet, the power of a dying god, there is no greater prize. A mere drop of Ursun's blood would break my curse, ending my servitude to this accursed book. Free to profit from its secrets. But Ursun is locked in the Forge of Souls, deep in the realm of chaos, and I cannot enter this nightmarish domain. All routes have been sealed by the maelstrom. There must be a way. The tome unveils a spell to summon a portal, one to bypass the maelstrom and create a door into chaos. Knowledge to bargain, for I need an ally, one who is tempted by the power of the god bear and can withstand the horrors within.
All right, folks, it is time to Tzeentch things up. So the special stuff for Tzeentch's race here is changing the ways. Basically, you can hatch these plots and basically screw up destiny for everybody. So you can get enemies to give up their settlements. You can get them to declare war on each other using this special currency. I'll show it to you when we get in game. And he can also manipulate the winds of magic, because Tzeentch is all about magic. And I think that's what's going to make this playthrough kind of unique and fun, and it's one of the reasons why I wanted to pick Tzeentch. I'm not crazy into Chaos factions, just from an aesthetic thing, and just, you know, like, just looking at it and interest, but obviously they're in this game, they're really neat, they're different than what they used to be, so we will eventually play them all, but Tzeentch caught my eye just because of all this magic. I felt like it would be fun gameplay. So let's jump in. I'm going to take the difficulty. And we're going to put the campaign difficulty on very hard. It says significantly lower upkeep cost. Enemy factions will field more armies, make swifter campaign progress while enjoying many other bonuses. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to leave the battle difficulty on normal so that you can understand Tzeentch's units. Later on, when we're in the course of this game, I'm going to play a campaign that is just all about being difficult. This one, I want a good challenge, meaning I want a lot of enemy stacks coming at me, but I want the combat to be balanced. So that's when I pick normal, and you can see that here. The combat is balanced around normal. You see here, it says enemy forces are smarter, tougher, with higher leadership. This means they're getting buffs, and that's fine. Like, especially if you're going for challenges, that's fine. But this is more about being cinematic. The challenge is going to come from the number of enemies, whereas the battle is going to reflect the way the game was designed. Now, again, on another campaign, we'll switch that up, and we'll see what, you know, the very hard, or even legendary has to offer in this game. I'll definitely check it out. Just not going to do it right at the moment in this game. So, I think we are good here. Let's go ahead and take a look at our start position. You can see it's just outside of Grand Cathay. We'll get a check, and I'm going to go ahead and hit start. It's going to be another cinematic, but before we do, enemy reinforcement time, prediction accuracy plus 100%. Enemy battle reinforcement time your own battle reinforcement time is reduced by 50%. Hero action success chance is up 15%, so that's insane. And then it says you can unlock unique items that can be used to customize Kairos' spell selection, so that should be fun. And enemy hero action success is reduced by 50%, and ambush chance is increased. So that's our bonuses. Let's watch the next bit of cinematic here.
The Silvered Tower, refuge of Kairos Fateweaver, the most powerful of all demon sorcerers. I found the great conjurer searching for a spell to pass through the maelstrom, but his scribe scoured every book in vain. I told him of Ursun, held captive in the Forge of Souls, but he dismissed my wisdom.
We already know of Be'lakor's plot, for I see the past, and I see the future.
But you are blind to the present. You did not see the maelstrom, nor can you decipher a path through it.
The Tome of Fates holds the answer, the spell we search for. Kill him, brother. Take it.
Only I can use it. The tome is bound to my soul.
We can unpick it. No, let him serve us. For one drop of god blood, I have foreseen it.
Peck out the eyes of Ursun. Use their power to view the present.
The sight of a god. The past, present, and future. All will be ours to see.
Our goal is the eyes of the God Bear. For a god's sight has the power to see all.
Interpret the Tome of Fates. Tell us what you believe to know. Born of the Deceiver.
At once, great oracle. Soon a way to bypass the maelstrom and enter the realm of chaos will present itself. That you already know, I'm sure. But to the present, there is much we can do to ensure our forces are optimal. We have come to the Volary, but a better staging post for Cathay's invasion is to our north. taking it by force would be a waste. Instead, use your Tzeentchian cunning to coax the inhabitants of Bloodwind Keep to our cause. Not everyone needs such persuasion. The settlements further along should easily fall into your talons through physical might. And there, the great bastion of Cathay. By your design, underlings of the Changer have already taken the Snake Gate and infiltrated the Dragon Empire. Take advantage and invade before the Bastion's powerful guardian can plug the gap. Once within Cathay, you and your minions can tear it apart. But that is just one destiny open to you. To the south are many scattered tribes who serve no master. Tools to expand your influence across the Chaos Wastes. And in the east, the Ogre Kingdoms are entrenched in their mountain camps. Your ability to teleport will allow you to scour the mountains of their hungry souls. The fates reveal much. It is your will that will weave them into a power base that shall take us into the realm of chaos and to the dying god. Let us begin.
Yes, indeed. Let us begin. So, here's the different pieces of how they play. They're a Chaos faction, so Tzeentch is going to be automatically at war with anybody you meet that is a non-Chaos faction. If you're looking for these Grimoires, or Grimwires, or however you say it, Grimoires is what I'm going to call them for now. If you all think I'm pronouncing it wrong, let me know. But essentially, it's these books here that you get. And you can get them from Chaos cults, from library buildings, and just other things. And they're basically your currency for special pieces of research. And it's also what fuels the changing of the ways that you can do to people. So you can make them transfer settlements, break alliances, do all this other stuff, right? So you can, this is the changing of the ways thing that we use there. So they play into that. And I just mentioned changing the ways. Take another quick look at it. These are all the different actions you can take. You need to have a certain number of the grimoires depending on what it is that you're trying to do to your enemy and how difficult it will be to get them to do it. You can teleport as Tzeentch, which is kind of like moving underground, I believe. So we can see here that it's the teleport. Teleport past terrain that would normally be impassable. So it's going to be a lot like moving underground. And then, of course, there's a few other things that are kind of unique about Tzeentch. It's going to be the, it says the Great Game here, so let's cover that real quick. Tzeentchian factions participate in the Great Game, vying with other followers of Chaos to spread the most corruption over the mortal realm. So we're still trying to do that. We're still trying to collect souls like we were in the other campaigns I showed you all. But we're also going to have barriers on our units. You're going to see that in the unit card here. That's what the blue is. The barrier, and I'm going to see if we can right click further in it. Let's see. The barrier will tell us, so right now, there's a 900 hit point barrier around Kairos, and that means he's going to absorb the first 900 hit points, whatever hits him. And if you can get away from without taking other damage, he'll eventually regenerate that barrier, and it basically gives Tzeentch kind of a hit and run play style, or at least the ability to get into certain situations and get away without near as much damage as other factions would take in a similar scenario. I'm going to go ahead and go to my settlement here. And I'm going to build this this next level here. It's this Flicker of Potential, which is going to give me access to pink horrors, which are a proper missile infantry that provide us really, it's rather short range, but very high damage missile fire. Now, the blue horrors do this as well. They are technically a melee infantry, but they're cheap. They do decent damage. Their range is very limited, and their ammo is very limited because they're a melee infantry versus being a dedicated missile infantry. So this is going to be our first fight. Again, these are going to be cinematic fights in the battle unless I auto-resolve it. And I don't think I'm going to auto-resolve this one, even though it's super easy, just so that you all can see the units up close in the very first cinematic here. All right, our first battle with Kairos Fateweaver. Let's take a look at his army. You can see Kairos himself moving through. He is looking absolutely awesome. We're going to be using a spell here of his as a magic missile attack, and I'm going to be using it on the Cathayan leader. Boy, look at the skybox and the backgrounds, like the improvements that they have made into Warhammer 3 visually are just absolutely stunning on the battle map in terms of the skybox and background. Look at our burning chariot here. It's got a very powerful missile attack. It's over 1.1k missile damage. We're going to be using it right onto, again, the Lord for Cathay. You can see me continuing to spew my missiles. And we are doing tremendous damage. You can see my blue horrors. I haven't even gotten to show you these units up close. Here's the blue horrors raining away, and then the pink horrors. And boy, that battle was over in a big old hurry. Didn't even get the chance to show you the soul grinder of Tzeentch. So here's our soul grinder. He was attacking from distance right now as well. So our army looking absolutely lovely. I don't think we got the Furies. Here's the Furies. They were reaping the peasant archers. So first battle, astounding victory. Well, that first battle was obviously going to be a success. You can see that Tzeentch's magic is indeed very powerful. And it looks like that my idea of this being a fun campaign is definitely going to come true. Now we need almost no replenishment. Well, I don't think we do need any replenishment here. We lost nothing. So we're going to do this offer as a tribute where I can take favor. Otherwise, we can get extra magic replenishment. So we don't need any of this. So let's do the total favor. It's not much. Take the extra favor. We're going to want to move forward. And we can use some of our... Picked up some grimoires there. All right, so let's take a look at the changing of ways here. We have the transfer settlement. It says transfer a settlement from one faction to another. Let's pick one. And right now it's set to transfer to this faction from the one who owns it. I don't believe, or yeah, we can put ourselves in here. It requires more grimoires than we have. Let's look down here. Nope, see, that's too much. So we don't have enough to convince these guys to just hand us their settlement. We're gonna need more than that. Try up here. Almost have enough to get these Cathayans, but no one's buying it yet. So we can't use this changing the ways. Everything else is locked behind some technology that we need to take a look at. Speaking of tech, let's pick a tech to open up. Some of these techs give you a new ability. We can take a look at those. Like, so for instance, the ones that cost grimoires usually give you a new one. So see here, changing the ways, reveal shroud. So if we do this one, it'll cost us some, take 4 turns, but we can basically unlock some new changing the ways abilities. So let's try that. I'm gonna move up. I'm gonna recruit some more units into this army. Right now, all we can get is blue horrors and chaos furies. Now, furies are actually really good at taking down towers and minor settlement battles. So although they're kind of weak in a lot of melees, they're good against skirmishers, which we'll see a lot of against Cathay. They're also good against towers. I'm gonna go ahead and end the turn. And as is typical in this campaign, I'm not gonna record the turn ends most of the time. All right, we had mission successful here, feather the nest, which means that we recruited a couple of units and we picked up some more grimoires. So we have quite a few now. Changing of the ways. So this is where it's wanting to teach us how to use changing the ways. Let's go see if there's something we can actually accomplish here. Let's switch this to Oracles of Tzeentch. We are still just short of it by like 23. We can grab this settlement that belongs to Cathay up here, though. I think that settlement is in... I don't know if it's in this area or not. Let's take a look real quick.
There is hostile.
Here, so Bloodwind Keep. Yeah, it is. So that would actually help us start to conquer territory without even having to do it here. So let's do that. Let's go ahead and transfer settlement. I'm gonna pick this one. We're gonna switch it to us because we want them to give it to us. Oh, okay, I see. For whatever reason, we're not close enough to it, maybe, or something, or we're not adjacent to it already. So it's not it is an option. I could make them trade it with someone else, maybe, but it's not something. Okay, I see. I hadn't looked into that previously, but lesson learned. Let's go ahead and continue with force at this point. So let's declare war. I don't really need my allies. I don't want them to come in here and snag my territory, so I'm gonna tell them to stay home. It wanted me to do this with the manipulation thing, and maybe we can, and I just, didn't quite get it, but it's no big deal. We got another battle here. Yes, this is one of the new minor settlement battles. It's not a very good one, though, so I'm gonna go ahead and auto-resolve this one. And as we get to a better battle, I'll make sure and get some of those recorded. I'll try and have 2 or 3 battles in every episode if possible. It's not a guarantee, but we definitely picked up more books now. Let's see happens here now if we use the changing ways. Trade settlement. This one's not an option. It could be because it's one of their last settlements. Yeah, I think it's probably because it's the last settlement for them, and I still don't think we can give this to ourselves because we're not adjacent. So let's save those books and not use them yet. Let's go ahead and start recruiting some more units. I can't quite get the pink screamers yet, unfortunately. And as far, I do want some Forsaken of Tzeentch really bad because they're going to be extremely good against Cathay and other factions early on. So I'm going to go ahead and build the building to get Forsaken of Tzeentch. There's some obsidian here, which will generate grimoires for us every turn. But at the moment, I'm going to go ahead and go with the growth first so that we can try and get stuff here. There's one that gives less growth and income, and there's one that gives better growth and barrier replenishment rates, which is nice to have the barrier replenishment rate. I'm gonna go with the slower growth and more income. Honestly though, it's nice to have the income, and I guess it is some growth. We'll go that route, and then once I get to the third slot, if I have an extra building, we'll put the other one in to get the extra growth. You might be better off to just go with the growth first. I haven't really, thought through the min-maxing of it, but I could imagine that going with the growth might be better. I'm gonna grab an extra point into Pink Fire of Tzeentch and then one into Treason of Tzeentch. Treason drops leadership really hard and is super helpful. Let's go ahead and grab another couple of blue horrors so that we have a little bit of melee. Oh, we picked up an iridescent horror here. This is great. So that's another Tzeentch caster, and he has access to cool flying mounts and similar magic to Kairos in some ways, although not quite as powerful. So he'll be another fun unit here to help pump some magic into our army. We can use our grimoires here too to do these, unholy manifestations. This one will stop an enemy army from being able to move, it stops our army from being able to move if we're in enemy territory, I believe. And we have to be, target an army belonging to, an enemy territory. So we have to be in enemy territory in order to do it, but it's a good way to get extra grimoires if you need them. So let's go ahead and there you go. Actually, I'll go ahead and record that that end turn. So you can see it's not taking very long to end turns right now, which is great because some of us know how long it takes to end turns. It's possible they wouldn't let me snag this one too because we had already taken a settlement on that turn. But it's not a possible target right now, and it's invalid because it's their capital. Okay, yeah, so you can't steal their capital. That makes sense. Or else you could really abuse the system pretty badly. And we all know that we would abuse the system really badly given that option. So I'm gonna recruit some some pink horrors. And we're going to go ahead and attack the Foundry of Bone. I know there's a couple of turn-ins I got in there. Turn-ins are short right now, so I don't know, maybe there's not a whole lot of sense in cutting them out. So it says that we're going to be defeated and that our casualties are going to be high. I highly disagree with this. I do not think that's going to be the case. I'm going to fight this one, and of course, it'll be a cinematic replay for you. So Kairos approaches the minor settlement. He's going to be using the Soul Grinder a lot more in this battle. You can see I'm going to use its ranged attack to do tremendous damage. Basically, I want to draw the enemy into some choke point battles. Now I'm going to be using a strategy here, and there's multiple strategies that will work on this difficulty level for battle. Now remember, my battle difficulty is on normal. It's the campaign difficulty that's on very hard. So this is geared towards something that will certainly work in normal, may work on harder, depends on what you're doing. But in this strategy, this is not one that I think will work as well on the harder, but it works fine here, which is we're going to use a single entity, but I'm going to bring all of my units in from the same direction. However, another strategy you can employ, and it's pretty effective, is to come from multiple angles and just go for these minor supply locations. This will take away points where the enemy can build towers. It takes away supplies where they can continue to build more towers, and is one way you can play the battle by splitting up. However, by splitting up, you're going to be weaker everywhere, and if you're going up against a melee-heavy faction early, Tzeentch, it's going to be a little bit worrisome because your units are really bad at melee. The Soul Grinder is going to be pretty good, but basically everything else you have needs to attack from range or with magic or with support. So that's why I'm not splitting up early. We'll see whether or not I ended up making the right decision. So you can see the Soul Grinder Basically, we're just trying to lure in as many units as the AI will feed me, and then I send my Chaos Furies ahead, and the Furies are sent around the settlement to attack towers. Being such a cheap unit, they're quick moving, they can bypass all the melees, and they can get into the towers in a big hurry. And they cause a lot of damage to them quickly because of their numbers and high weapon damage. I've sent my my flaming, I think it's a flaming chariot, burning chariot as Tzeentch, and Kairos up here, and basically I'm gonna unleash missile Hades all over Lothar here, who is the Chaos Lord guarding the settlement. So you can see him. He's gonna be standing near the main capture point here. I'm not even attempting to capture right now. I'm just gonna kill him, and this is going to make his whole army less effective because they're gonna be distraught at the loss of their leader. At least that's my hope here. My chariot is at the edge of its range. I really ought to move it up because I'll do even better damage. And then the missiles can come out of Kairos pretty often here, and they're gonna hit him with pretty good damage. So Lothar is being killed, and that's kind of a cheesy strategy, but that's the strategy I'm employing. So see here, I used my Soul Grinder to create a blob. Now I'm gonna just shower it with pink horrors. Now you can cause damage to your own units. Like the friendly fire from pink and blue horrors is real. You gotta be careful. Your barrier can minimize it, and right now I'm running the Soul Grinder kind of past his barrier. Not entirely necessary for me to be letting him take damage like this, but I'm not gonna let him just keep taking it. See, like right now I'm gonna retreat, redo my barrier. I'm being approached by some aspiring champions, and I'm just gonna kind of slowly work the AI down here. I clicked an order, but my guys lost it over here, unfortunately, so they're gonna get shot by that tower for a while, so make sure you keep an eye on whether your units keep that. Lothar here is gonna get routed. The Burning Chariot and Kairos are just shredding him with Tzeentch's bombardments and Warp Flame, all kinds of good stuff here. So that's quite a few brutal shots. I'm gonna put one more magic missile out here with Kairos and see if it kills this guy as he flees away. Here comes the Burning Chariot shot, here comes the magic missile. It actually leaves him at under 200 hit points, so I'm just gonna send the Burning Chariot into melee, finish him. I'll let you all watch this, it'll be pretty funny. See the melee action on the Burning Chariot against Lothar. Lothar to be one of the first noteworthy Chaos Lords here to learn not to oppose Tzeentch's plans, especially when they're fueled by the salt of Carthage. So Tzeentch paired with salt is quite the dangerous thing indeed. And there goes Lothar. He is taking a dirt nap, and one that he deserved. At this point, the Chaos Forces are kind of pushing out, so you can kind of tinker with the AI here. That is precisely what I'm doing. I'm just messing with them. Pulling them out, beating them in little one-off engagements, and it's because, again, Tzeentch is just not great in melee early on. And until you get your Vortex spells with Kairos and your Iridescent Horror, you're gonna be a little bit weak. So you don't want to push that melee until you can really punish the enemy for blobbing up in melee against you. Until then, you want to use your Soul Grinder and other units here to just kind of help tank some of this damage and help use the terror against enemy units. You can see all these units are just marauders for the most part. There are some aspiring champions. They'll be improving the leadership. You can see we kind of just poop on these guys, send in the single entity to cheese it a little, and we're gonna just play them essentially. I'm using Kairos to tear down a tower. My Furies tore down a tower, so I'm staying after the towers. And if you split up and get up here, take the supply points. If you take the supply points, it'll be less places they can build towers. In this strategy, you're going to be getting hit by a lot of towers. Look at that, the terror route worked. So I got a terror route, and I'm gonna start pushing further into the settlement, using my Furies to attack some Marauder Horsemen right now. They ran off, so I couldn't get to them. There goes another tower. Look, they built one back here. AI will just relentlessly build towers, so it's another good reason why this strategy it's okay, it works, it's not my favorite. Going for the supply points probably is better in the end, but since my Furies have the barrier to help protect them, it's really not that big of a deal, and we're going to be doing a lot of damage to enemy towers. All right, my blue horrors are going to push in here, and one thing you can do too, as your forces of Tzeentch engage, and their barrier gets depleted, you can always pull them back and send in the next unit when you're doing this type of attritional battle. It's almost like an old Roman tactic, right? Where they would trade troops out from the front line to keep them fresh. You can certainly do that here with Tzeentch, and if you want to be most effective with Tzeentch, that's what you should do, is engage a unit, pull it out, put the next unit in, and just kind of keep letting the enemy just eat your barrier and not get any real damage done. So here comes Kairos and the Burning Chariot. I'm also going to use Tzeentch's Treason here in order to really break the leadership of those Forsaken. I don't want them here because they're really going to do a lot of damage, especially against units like Blue Horrors. So that's why I'm kind of tanking up on them here and trying to get some extra work done. The Marauders are going to engage my Blue Horrors here. You can see that cool barrier animation. I love it. It's really cool looking animation going off with all the magic-y stuff there. Looks absolutely awesome. This game is beautiful. Some people have been asking me how it runs. I have it on the high settings right now, and this is in the middle of a battle with quite a few units inside a settlement. I'm getting between 70 and 80 frames per second. My corpses don't disappear either, which that can make a big difference. Ultra settings, it's going to be a little bit lower performance. I'm playing at 2K as well, right? So this is not 1080p, this is 1440p. But I do also have a $1,500 graphics card in right now, which is my 6900 XT, and I'm also rocking a 16-core 5950X, so I have absolutely premium hardware. I don't know how this works on lower hardware yet. I actually built some computers and gave away a lot of the hardware that I had to try and help people, because obviously getting computers right now is really difficult, so I don't have any lower tier graphics cards to test this on. But I do have a second machine. It has similar processing capabilities, but less GPU. Its GPU would be more on par with something like a 3070. So I could test that and see how it performs there. I can't do it at the moment, but I should be able to do it eventually. Try and give you all an idea what it's going to perform like. But yeah, at the moment, this is where the performance landed. It looks good. It's pretty smooth. It's not as prone to big frame drops in the big battles as Warhammer 2 was, at least in my opinion. But let's get back in here and get some more cinematic goodness. That's what this campaign's all about. Use my Burning Chariot and Kairos to bust up these Marauders. Over here, there is a unit of Chaos Warriors, and these guys are going to put up a significantly more difficult fight because there must be some hotkey that keeps putting this into slow motion. I think it's my mouse button. Anyway, yeah, these guys end up putting up a significant fight here because of their armor and their leadership, and these are only Blue Horrors fighting them, right? This is not an eminently powerful melee unit. Swing back over here and let you get some good images of Kairos. He is not, you know, insane in melee, and in fact, he's probably better in melee in the game than he was from what I heard in lore, that he was just, and even on the tabletop, he was really bad at melee because he can't see the present, but obviously his magic is insane. But the animations are just absolutely gorgeous they put together here. These are some more Chaos Warriors over here as well. I like the color scheme they're in as well. Really sweet color scheme. I wish CA would make it to where you could customize colors on your faction and your army and campaign. That would be so cool. Even if it's a DLC they want to sell to us, I'd be willing to buy it. Plus, it's Warhammer. Everything's about painting and customization, right? It's from the tabletop game. I'd really love to see that be added at some point. I think it'd be great if it was free. I'd be willing to pay for it as a DLC if it just got it into the game. But yeah, I mean, obviously it'd be best if it was free. I got my Furies working on another tower. They took it out. And at this point, we're just working down these final two Chaos Warriors. I'm going to go ahead and fast forward. There's not much else to see here, honestly. These guys just tanked for a long time because they're very well armored. And I think I got you plenty of cinematic views. So there we're able to finish taking the settlement. All right, so I felt like the AI got to hang on there a lot longer than they deserved at the very end. That's fine. That was one of a few strategies I'm going to show you guys for using Tzeentch. That strategy I used right there is a lot more effective once we've unlocked some Vortex spells, but it does still work. And I'll show you some others where you split up and you basically try and take away capture points from your enemies. So hopefully this will give you some different ideas on how to approach those minor settlement battles. Let's take our rewards. Let's go ahead and occupy the settlement that we fought hard for. We're going to need to re-recruit some units here. We lost a horror Rather than focus on getting too many blue horrors, in fact, I'm gonna merge the ones we've got and then take this weak unit, hunt it. I'm gonna start replacing the horrors. Now they're gonna cost a lot more upkeep, but the Forsaken of Tzeentch are just really good units to have. They do tremendous weapon damage against units early on. Now they don't have a lot of defense, so they're a little squishy, but that barrier helps make up for it. Makes them very effective. So we're gonna get Prismatic Plurality here, which is an augment of the winds, but then what we're really after next is Infernal Gateway and then Tzeentch's Firestorm. Infernal Gateway now gives us that Vortex spell, which will make us an absolute unholy terror to any enemies who decide to blob up on us in combat. So yeah, it's gonna be great. Let's go ahead and focus on magic here first, because I wanna get Vortex spells with this guy as well. The more spells we can cast, the better. That's just the way it works with Tzeentch. You cast more spells, cast to win, basically, right? You want more spells, more spells, more spells. It's gonna work. You know what? We can rotate these. I'll leave this one here that gives the extra growth. This one here that gives the combination income and growth. Let's go ahead and roll through this because we are gonna need a second army eventually to help kind of guard our lands a little bit, at least even a partial army, while we run off to the realms of chaos. All right. We need to name our characters here as well. I think I'm gonna wait and I'm gonna give one of our characters like a patchy name when I get a second army. But I'll tell you what, you all help me come up with a cool name for this iridescent horror down in the chat. I'll go read your suggestions. I'll take a name and on the next one, we'll name him. And of course in these cinematic campaigns, I love adding names to different units. So if you come up with any names for any of these, let me know. And as we get heroes and stuff, let me know and we'll do it. And I like to do that as a fun way to give you all some interaction and also get to see the characters that you create come to life throughout the campaign as they achieve cool things in battle and otherwise. So we finished the Way of Deception. That is great. There was some stuff over here. I'm trying to remember, where's that? Magic, ammunition for blue and pink horrors. I really want that. So I'm gonna do this Gift of Mutation here. And then we'll do this Ways of Deceit and Glean Magic and kind of work our way over that because I really like the benefits to our pink horrors. They're really nice missile infantry for us at this point in the game. Quite deadly. So we have a whole bunch of books. Let's go ahead and use this. Changing of the Ways, Transfer Settlement. We're gonna pick this one because it is not their capital. I'm gonna ask them, and we cannot get them to give it to us. I don't know why we're not an option here. I'm adjacent to them now. Maybe because I captured a settlement this turn. Like maybe you can't take a settlement and I don't know. What's keeping it from giving it to us? I don't really want to influence them to do that at the moment because I mean, what am I gonna do? Like give it to some other faction? We do have Reveal Shroud though. Reveal the Shroud over all of a faction's territory. Let's do this while we're at it because this is gonna cost less. Let's pick pick one of the Celestial Loyalists as an example. Or actually, no, let's pick that faction there. Imperial Wardens. Let's perform this. The Shroud revealed. So let's now go check it out, see what our changing the ways. All right, so we're getting some good intel. These guys are up to, they control the Turtle Gate. They control the Dragon Gate. Snake Gate's still broken. I haven't seen the Storm Dragon yet. Looks like we got some Tzeentch factions already inside there, so that's good stuff. Put those grimoires to use. Do some changing of the ways there. Alright, Kairos. Mission issued. Regain a positive income. Why are we then? Oh, because I recruited so much stuff, we're in the negative. Alright, well we'll regain a positive income. Didn't realize we would already be in the negative with what we had here. I'm gonna go ahead and just auto-resolve this one against Cathay. It's not gonna be anything spectacular to see. And let's go ahead and occupy this settlement. All right. Did not fix our income issues. Let's tear that down. I'm pushing for a lot of income early here. I'll build some buildings here that should push it back up. Should be all right. If anything, I can just cut some Forsaken because maybe I just got into them too early. and we'll deal with it that way. So it shouldn't be a huge deal one way or the other. We're going to open up. Actually, I'm just going to go to second tier Infernal Gateway. Infernal Gateway is a stationary vortex, whereas Tzeentch's Firestorm moves around. And I like to be... Tzeentch's Firestorm is really good whenever the enemy's kind of blobbed up, but your units are not near them. The other one is very good whenever you are looking to... Spread some extra Tzeentch corruption. The other one is good when you're looking to hurt the enemy that's engaged with your troops. You can place the spell very specifically to keep your own troops from getting wrecked. So that becomes your objective. Go ahead. I don't know why I should be giving you military access. I don't know who you are or why I should care. I don't want you walking around in my territory. That's my turf. Oh, they rebuilt the snake gate right in front of me. You know what's BS about this too? Is that the snake gate was ruined, and for them to have resettled it, it would have required them to take a ton of losses to their army, but clearly the AI doesn't have to play by the same rules there, so that was very cheeky by the Storm Dragon there to pull that off right in front of us. Cheeky devil. Let's go ahead and cut down one of our... sake. We should do the one that's damaged. Here, that'll put us back in the positive. And for now, we're going to need to get some more territory. We're not going to easily get through the snake gate at the moment. I was hoping we would get there before she filled it up, but she did. And now we'll grab... Let's grab Greater Arcane Conduit, just so we can get more magic in a single battle and quicker. And with our Iridescent Horror, let's go ahead and give it Treason of Tzeentch. That's a really handy spell. We're gonna need to keep the money grabbing going. There's some factions we're at war with down here, and there's another whole province essentially we can capture. So let's turn our back on Cathay for the moment and see whether or not we can just leave them be while we build up. And in fact, you know what's something to be very Tzeentchy of us to do? I don't know if it's possible, but we could try and see. There's a Force War, Halt Faction, Track Army. We haven't unlocked all of these. I'm just kind of looking at some of Force Rebellion. Aids give war coordination target. I was hoping that there was one that would like force someone into peace or something. That'd be pretty funny. I'm worried about revealing a shroud for now though, so let's get out of here. I don't imagine that, and the only reason I would be asking for peace is not because I'm like profoundly scared of her faction. What I'm thinking here is that we'll be very Tzeentchy, and we will try to get them to think we don't want to be at war with them while we're just, getting bigger here and then being able to teleport in through. Now, I don't know if we can teleport through Great Bastion. That's but look, we might be able to teleport into Cathay through this mountain range right here too. So let's get Tzeentchy, okay? We can't even deal with them at the moment. Can't negotiate with this faction. Yeah, so it isn't gonna be a thing. All right, so let's end that turn. She did. She came straight out of the gate. I should have known. The AI loves going for minor settlements. So I guess I shouldn't be terribly surprised there. Let's see if we can use that against her, shall we? Yes, we shall. So, settlement sacked. All right, well. That's round one to the Storm Dragon. We'll give it to her. She got us there. Very cheeky. What I'm gonna do, I don't know what she's gonna be doing anymore around this. Let's use our changing of the ways again. Let's reveal the shroud on northern provinces. She is standing just inside her own territory here. I'm gonna go ahead and push up to here because I want to get up here and put an ambush right in front of the Fortress of Eyes and use it as bait, essentially, okay? That's what we're gonna attempt. Let's go past this turn. Let's not repair it because I don't want them to attack at this turn. We want to just lay a nice little Tzeentch ambush here. She ran away. Right, well, she got her shot in, and she doesn't want to stick around and play, so that's the way the AI is. They're just kind of hit and run like that. Let's keep building up our stuff. We're starting to build up a little more income here. It's not great. Snake Gate's garrison is pretty decent. It's not bad. There is something cheeky we might be able to get away with here, and I'll show you what it is. I'm gonna come up here. I'm gonna go ahead and enter an ambush stance. If this army thinks that they can take out the Fortress of Eyes while it's trying to build, we'll get them. If they don't, and let's say that Miao Ying continues to go off east, then I'm gonna come up here and attack this army and pull the garrison out of the Snake Gate and then take the Snake Gate. One way or the other, I feel like we're gonna be able to get a leg up on them here.
For the betterment of
If that army stays outside the gate, that is, and Miao Ying doesn't come back. So let's wait and see what they do here. This will be telling. Looks like both their armies ran off. Snake Gate just finished upgrading, which means its garrison just got significantly increased. Dang it. All right, if they would have kept that army there, that would have been our ticket to get straight through the Snake Gate. It did not work, so that is unfortunately no longer our option. And as soon as I run off and leave this settlement unguarded, they're possibly likely to come in. Look at this. Yeah, you can see that the AI gets the buffs. They've already got 3 armies fielded out here, which the player would, of course, never have access to. I'd like to go secure this province down here to the south of us, and I guess I could, because let's be honest, Cathay's probably not going to push too far out here. So, and then, you know, I am curious with the teleport. Can you teleport through the Great... Cannot adopt this stance in this region. It may just be because they don't want you going under the Great Bastion, like, so they don't allow it in that region, maybe? Let's head south. This down here looks like maybe a potential place where you could teleport under. I don't know if it would work. I'm gonna head south regardless, and we'll see if that lures Cathay back up. If it does, I'll do what I can, but AI does a ton of hit and run crap like that, and it's difficult to counter sometimes unless you can trick them. That Shu Sung there, Shui Sung, they probably will come through the gate and try and attack my relatively unguarded settlement. Still can't teleport. Doesn't this region... Can't quite tell where these borders change. I'm gonna stop off right over here in the woods and see if I can get lucky and maybe like make a teleport under the mountains right here. I don't think it's gonna let me, but I will attempt it nonetheless. See if we can, you know, kind of sneak our way into Cathay and do some damage. I'm not sure it's gonna work. Aggression Pact, I guess. Yeah, we still can't teleport. Probably has something to do with the Great Bastion. Could have something to do with like a corruption level or something like that. But my guess is maybe it has something to do with the Great Bastion and CA not wanting you to just teleport under the Great Bastion. So anyway, we'll just push south and try and take some more territory. Let's check out our... Where's here? It's gonna take to get this settlement for us. Can't give that one to ourselves either because it's their capital. All right. So up defenses. Let's keep building our income. We'll be by a lot, but it'll be ever increasing, and that's good. We need better income. And here we go. If we can't see what's going on here, I'm gonna use some of my grimoires to reveal the shroud on these guys. I think we can see what's going on there, but see what they're up to. They do have an army. It's a little farther off, so not really concerned about it at the moment. Let's go ahead and do... we don't have the right building to do that one. I can't actually get to the research that I want right now, so I'm going to go ahead and just do this one so we can keep trying to open up different abilities for our changing of the ways. The more abilities we have, the more useful that's going to be, potentially, so I want to make sure we catch that, take advantage of it. I don't want you in my land. Stay away. We can wound our character and get extra books, or we can get... Let's just take the bonus experience. That sounds better to me. Grab Pink Fire of Tzeentch. If they move their army back to garrison the settlement, that's a little bit frustrating. Floating Mountain has a decent garrison in it, but I want to show you all the power and fury of Tzeentch's magic. So let's fight this battle. And like I said, I'm just going to show you all just how strong Tzeentch's magic can be. Alright, so now we are going to be fighting against Khorne's troops in a settlement here. Now this is going to be kind of a different ball game. You can see Khorne's already got a tower up front. I'm going to... Wow, that did... Got 3 unit models in the opening salvo. They're straight through the barrier. A tower is a strong one there indeed. Let's see what kind this is. Piercing tower, yeah. So I'm going to be moving forward. We do not want to fight Khorne in a straight up melee. We are not equipped for that. I do have some Forsaken. They're quite good, but Khorne, that is his battlefield in melee. So what we're gonna do is we're going to focus on our missiles and our magic. And it's going to be similar to the last one I fought. However, I do now have vortexes. And I will be able to use those vortexes to get effect. But for now, I want to see what freebies the AI will give me. So I'm going to approach the settlement. I'm going to get into close range missile fire. And I'm going to just start unleashing the pink horrors and blue horrors all over the enemy. Bloodletters are a common troop that Khorne is going to throw at us here. They are very unarmored. Look at that, the terrain is changing under their feet. That's pretty impressive. Obviously some kind of glitch there or something. Yeah, so they're going to take a ton of damage on the way in because they don't armor. They're not armored, but they do have anti-infantry. They're armor piercing, which won't do them much good because my units don't have a lot of armor, but they're going to be very deadly in a melee. I don't want to just get up into a melee, and so what I'm going to do is kind of fall back, and I'm going to try and keep switching SEMs in here, just kind of keep cheesing enemy. You can see this unit's already crumbling. I'm going to try and get these Chaos Warriors with some missile fire. Those are Chaos Warriors of Khorne, so remember they're the Khorne variety, which means they're even better than regular. Keep using the blue horrors to do some taunting and stuff over here as well. So far, so good. We've been able to take out a few units from Khorne. See, I'm going to lure them out. So don't just stick there in melee, especially not with Khorne. So that's his game. And look at the color scheme on these guys. Looks absolutely beautiful. So you can see it lured one of his units out here. They're really, really intent on attacking my pink horrors, but I threw instead my soul grinder to them. We're gonna grind the souls right out of these guys. So now they're taking missile fire and they're getting hit in a heavy melee, and they are going to flee, or at least attempt to do so, because the AI now realizes they're too far out. When you approach your whole army from one side of the battlefield, the AI continually tries to reshuffle to meet it because it's so many troops, and you can kind of game that. And as I expected, yes, the AI can kind of defend settlements okay. It's actually better than I expected they would defend the settlements, to be fair. However, you can still game them, and this is what I found for it, is that when you have the short-range missiles, you can kind of keep moving units up and take little individual engagements. You're going to basically be picking away at the numbers. So see that there? We've already picked away at a good number of Khorne's troops. He's summoning more. It's a special army ability they have right now where they're summoning in even more bloodletters. And you can see here, he had some Furies strayed too close to me, so I pinned him down with Kairos and my blue horrors, and we're going to just absolutely waylay them. Sometimes when the AI summons a unit like this Bloodletter, they decide they actually want to try and pull it back in and use it to protect the garrison. And this is a behavior that CA would need to patch out, because that unit does crumble. It's no good to try and pull it back in to protect the garrison. It needs to just attack. So I'm sure they could possibly reprogram that, fix it. So anyway, my pink horrors are going to get their their barrier back. You can see some of my guys actually took hit point damage, which is unfortunate. But our plan is working. Look at that. So we've already bled away over 200 troops from Khorne. We've taken very few losses. It's about a 4-to-1 ratio right now. And that's a ratio that we can afford. So I'm going to fast forward for a second. Give you all some more cinematic views in just a second. The towers kind of continue to attack me from different locations. As I'm able to, I'll send my Furies in. Like, see, here's a tower. There's another one over here. So I'll be sending them after the towers as I get the opportunity to try and minimize their damage. We're going to keep using Soul Grinder of Tzeentch to draw these units in, really pull them into combat. See here, I'm going to just swoop down on these guys, really get up into a good melee with them. And then we're going to start pulling out our first Vortex spell. Oh, it's beautiful, folks. Look at that Eye of Tzeentch. It's going to absolutely devastate the infantry units. And when you do this with your single entities don't really take much damage from that Vortex. But multiple entity units like infantry take a ton. So you can see that I did tremendous damage to everything there except for the Blood Reaper. So that was a really worthwhile engagement for me. Not a lot of kills yet. Just so you all remember the name of that spell too, I'm going to pull that out of here. It slipped my mind for the moment. Okay, the Infernal Gateway. Yeah, the Infernal Gateway, and then the other one is the Firestorm of Tzeentch. So I'm going to use these 2 flyers. I like using my flyers to kill the towers. You can use your missile troops. If you use missile troops, then that's missiles they can't use on the enemy infantry. Look at that now. We are pulling way ahead in terms of kills. The Blood Reaper has also come way too far out here. The Blood Reaper is basically a big brother to the Bloodletters, and he performs similarly, like except in a single entity form. He's going to be very good against infantry, and particularly armored infantry, but doesn't have much armor himself. See here, he decides that he thinks he wants to turn around and run away. So I'm going to kind of keep picking at him as he gets a little bit hasty to go all the way back to the settlement. So I'm going to throw my Forsaken into him because they'll do really good damage against low armor. And indeed, he starts to get chomped up by the Forsaken. Then I'm going to get a couple of cheeky pink horror shots here at the Chaos Warriors are trying to support him. Got to be careful. My Burial will protect me from my own shots for a moment at least. So the Blood Reaper looks like he's going to go down. I continue to rip through towers. So I'm tearing down the enemy towers. They can't shoot at me. Let's once again fast forward. I'm just going to kind of show you what I do next. So the Blood Reaper goes down. These guys getting absolutely shot up. So again, I'm pulling them into fights that they don't want to be in. I'm not using my spells every single time there's a fight. I'm waiting for the best blobs to use my spells. And then when there's an armored unit, I throw in Kairos, I throw in the Soul Grinder, or I throw in this Burning Chariot, because the armored units are a lot tougher. And you want to break them quicker and don't give them time to kill your unarmored infantry. You can see that that strategy pays off very well right here as we rout those Chaos Warriors. I'm going to fast forward again. Now I decide that I'm going to start bringing most of my troops on the right, and I'm going to try and capture this minor supply location and the other one. And if we do so, it'll badly hurt enemy morale and hopefully help put this battle out of reach. So again, you can see me bringing my single entities forward. There's another Herald of Khorne, which is similar to the Blood Reaper that we saw earlier. He's running towards us. So I'm going to try and pull him out. Look at that damage. The Burning Chariot's missile attack took off a ton of hit points because that guy doesn't have the armor or a shield to stop it. So I'm going to throw him into a very unpleasant combat here against some large units, which he will not excel. And even bring the Chariot down too because it's good against infantry. And then this starts to lure in the next melee blob. So again, see what I'm aiming at here. I'm trying to lure the enemy into blobs, and then I'm going to use Tzeentch's magic to absolutely decimate the blob. All the while, if I have infantry, I try to hold them out of combat, use their missile weapons, keep their barriers up, and basically bleed the enemy dry of units until we can make our way in safely. Because if we just tried to bull through a china shop here and just break through Khorne, he would absolutely flatten us. That would not work. That's why you're going to see me using this particular tactics, and we're up to about 100 kills, but Kairos has caused significantly more damage than the kills are telling the stories right now, because that Infernal Gateway is not getting a ton of kills, but it's doing a ton of hit point damage. So I'm going to get set up here. I'm going to send my Forsaken. I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of heavy infantry forward now. We've weakened Khorne significantly, but again, I'm looking for blobs. Let's go ahead and fast forward. You're going to see me push all the way up in here. I lose my barrier, so I'm going to send the single entities in. I'm going to try and pull the Forsaken out. No reason to let these guys get killed. Don't let them just sit there and die. So I'll pull them out here in a moment, give their barrier a chance to respond. There you go. You can see them get pulled out. And then this is going to be a rinse and repeat here, folks. As soon as my Forsaken are out of the way, you can see all these bloodletters getting lined up to be destroyed in another Vortex spell. And it's going to work. These guys, in fact, after I placed the Vortex, ran straight into it. Not really sure why. There's another Infernal Gateway. I'll let you all catch again the beauty of this game, because it is beautiful. That is another enemy infantry ball that is just going to get absolutely ripped asunder. Tzeentch sees the future, and he sees that this faction for Khorne has no future. They're not there. Using my blue horrors now to tear through these barricades, and they are making a beeline for this minor supply point. And now these main forces here are going to push for this one. You can see that that ends up breaking the back of enemy leadership, and that is going to be it. These minor Khorne faction here is not going to be able to stand up to the ever-changing ways of Tzeentch and Kairos Fateweaver, and their settlement will fall into his hands. All right, folks, that is just really the beginning of how Tzeentch's fury can be unleashed in the form of magic. And we're going to see a lot more of that, and we're going to actually see Kairos get a whole lot more kills than that. I think he only had like a couple hundred. We'll see him get up to 1,000 sometimes, depending on the battle being right. So hope y'all are enjoying the campaign so far with those cinematic playthroughs. Should be something nice for you to look at. HeirofCarthage signing out of this one for now. I will see you soon with some more action in the Tzeentch campaign.